Oh, we got 100k. Let's go. Wait, I just realized the reason. Wait. I just realized the reason. It's inconsistent now with her getting the vaporizes. Oh no. Oh boy, where do we even begin with the mini faces of Jahoda? Because this character, she can do meaningful damage as like a crit DPS. And in many ways, by the way, Jahoda is the Anemo crit DPS that I've always wanted, in that she isn't an Anemo DPS. She is actually a unit that can convert her damage to a different elemental type of your choosing, like Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, Electro, the swirlable elements, right? So this is where her Meow Ball damage is right here. This 204% multiplier at level 8. Compare that to like Kazuha, where Kazuha has a elemental infusion on his burst, but it's a 54% multiplier at level 7. What about Venti? He's on banner right now, level 8, a 30% multiplier. Like, these are really tiny multipliers. And Jahoda has this multiplier that's much bigger. That alone basically makes her really interesting. The only thing I'm disappointed by is that she can't really be on-fielded. I mean, you can on-field her, and as you can probably guess by this team, this is... I don't recommend this team, by the way. Am I going to try to use this team in this video? Yes. But do I recommend it? No. This is Hypercarry Jahoda, where we on-field Jahoda, and it's gonna be weird. Anyways, so with getting distracted, Jahoda I think has the ability to be really, really fun when you build some crit on her, build her for talent damage. But her true value lies in the weird conjunction of potentially DPSing her while also just being a non-cry unit, right? You can throw together, you know, free character, I know, and then a C0 Jahoda, and that enables Ascendant Gleam for you. And enabling Ascendant Gleam means functionally like the Wild Hunt enemies or the Wild Hunt boss, Sigurd, have meaningfully less HP. So it's not just, you know, for like enabling Neffers or Flynn's as passive, right? So now without any non-cry 5 stars, you could potentially do something, say, like Jahoda and Aino plus Arlecchino and Bennett, and you have Ascendant Gleam enabled. And even if that is worse, like on a spreadsheet level, than Arlecchino's other teams you could play on your account, that might be the best option you have versus the Wild Hunt enemies that have functionally less HP when you have Ascendant Gleam in the team. Is that lame design for as far as how they design enemies? I think yes, but at the same time, I think that's worth mentioning that is a possibility. And that Arlecchino context, by the way, is a context where you could build Jahoda for talent damage or to, you know, have some extra damage source that isn't just Arlecchino doing damage, right? Ultimately, as a unit that can offer some healing from her burst, some buffing as well when you burst. She gives 100 EM to the active character. And then damage from her skill when you have Ascendant Gleam. Like, I think these are enough things that make her a valuable modal unit, even at C0, but I think her value does scale up meaningfully if you have her C6 or not. And by the way, I do have her C6, it's just not activated yet. We will be testing her C6 in this video. The thing I think you need to be aware of is, even for just a supportive context, not just for DPSing Jahoda, she is a clunky character. That is my main takeaway. And if you're not willing to deal with some clunkiness and adapt around how her kit works, she's probably never going to feel like a satisfying character to you, right? You have to want to experiment with what does and does not work in order for Jahoda to feel like a valuable character, right? That's, I think, my number one conclusion. So, specifics to get into for her kit. Her normal attacks you can pretty much ignore. If you're on-fielding her, you can level up this to like do charge attack DPS technically, but it's not really super important. Her burst is what allows you to heal. Her A4 passive is when the active party member is healed over 70% HP, their EMs increase by 100 for 6 seconds, so that is pretty meaningful for any, you know, reaction-focused unit on field. This passive is a whole wall of text. Honestly, it's not really worth stressing about that much. So this is all about her burst. So this personal coordinated assistance robots, that's what her burst's coordinated attacks is. And the thing you have to be aware of, and I'll demonstrate this in a bit, is her burst has a separate infusion. So you see this personal coordinated assistance robot damage of 24.2%. That is converted element damage, just like, you know, Kazuha, Venti's, that really low multiplier conversion. That's what that is. But then Jahoda also has the Meow Ball damage, which is converted to element damage, and these can be different elements. Jahoda can actually technically do, say, Pyro from the Meow Ball and then Electro from her burst coordinated attacks at the same time. Now, I believe the intent behind the fact that she can get different infusions on both of her abilities is that, you know, you're not meant to do like any particular infusion consistently, and I think they just want you to have whatever elements mixed going on the team, and it's just like RNG BS go. So that is part of the clunkiness I mentioned, and it's hard to get her to do sometimes specifically what you want. So anyways, this whole wall of text basically says her burst, depending on the infusion you get, will do more damage from Pyro, you will get a little bit more healing from Hydro, increased attacks from Electro, and then the interval is reduced with Cryo, which the Cryo one is, I think, kind of useless. All you need to keep in mind is that her burst heals the active character, and it also heals the lowest HP off-field character a little bit too for less scaling. Her overall like healing is pretty good, by the way. It's not like the best in the game, but it should solidly keep you alive as long as you burst. She ascends with healing bonus too, which I kind of don't like, but it's fine. Oh, actually, you know, while we're at it, why not do the ascension? Why? Not that it's actually worth the healing bonus or whatnot, but I think Jahoda is fun enough to deserve this. And this is quite expensive, but I want to get the uttermost I can. Look, I C6'd her. You think I wasn't going to crown her skill at least? So, her skill. Now, all these first multipliers here don't really matter that much. They are big multipliers, but they are like one singular instance of like animo damage. And that, and this like unfilled treasure flask versus filled treasure flask damage, this only happens when you don't have Moon Sign Ascendant Gleam. When you have Moon Sign Ascendant Gleam, it has this line here saying she does not immediately poop out a bunch of animo damage. Instead, she fires it over time with the Meow Balls, this Meow Ball damage. So this is the actual important number here. She fires that over time and with whatever element that the flask was filled with. So that would be Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, or Electro. So this is a 230% multiplier. And the frequency of this Meow Ball hit, by the way, is every 2 seconds. And that 230% multiplier every 2 seconds always applies the element too. So that's important because it means if you absorb Pyro and the enemy has Hydro on it, you could, for example, have a 230% multiplier that always gets a Vaporize. And because of that, that means her damage performance in different kinds of teams is going to vary wildly. What really limits the ability to utilize Jahoda's kit, though, is the Moon Sign Ascendant Gleam requirement, because you don't get the elemental conversion without it, right? So it's just, oh well. Alright, so to demonstrate her skill, we're going to put Hydra on the enemy, right? So no Hydra going on off-field, just Hydra staying on the enemy. You can see we pressed her E, and then the little jar to the left filled up, and now every 2 seconds she's going to fire these little Meow Bills at enemies within range. You can see it's doing 4,800 on a crit, and it drains a little bit every couple seconds, and it lasts quite a long time. You can see we still have plenty of it left as we have 1, 2, and I think one more shot. We have 3 shots that were still in the jar while we had cooldown back. Now, the way that this absorption works, by the way, she coughed at all the sand. So this absorption has a priority order, by the way. If you click on this, you can see the conversion priority is Pyro, Hydro, Electro, Cryo. The way it works, though, is kind of funky in practice. And like, I have literally seen her element of the jar, that whatever it's absorbing, switch between different elements when I had like Hydro, Pyro, and Electro off-field at the same time. And I think what happened is, like, I initially came into contact with Electro, but then Hydro had priority over Electro, so it switched over to Hydro. It's important to know, though, like, in that kind of context, I didn't get Pyro, even though Pyro has like the priority order, because Pyro didn't stay on the enemy. You have to have like the element staying on the enemy around you to be able to get it. And when you're in an AoE situation, I think it makes it weird. Like, it's weird, okay? I don't want to spend this whole video. I could. I could probably spend this whole video just on the wackadoodleness of how her absorption works from her skill. I'd rather get on to showing some things. I've already spent enough time yapping about her. She's got a weird and kind of complicated character, quite frankly. And I just think you have to be aware of being willing to mess around with how you rotate and set up things in order to get her to do things consistently, or you just embrace the weirdness. Now, one thing I want to try to do quick, though, is I want to show you a different absorption from elements on her burst versus her skill. We can do this just by applying Electro. We can do burst, right? And you can see we have these little Meow Ball paws. Those are now firing Electro. And now, if we do this, Oh, well, invisible. Try this again, but with less yapping this time. But yeah, so the little paws that circle around Jahoda are her burst, elemental infusion, and you saw that applying Electro, right? So we're going to do that again, but then I'm going to immediately go into Ino to apply Hydro, and then to get Hydro on her skill, right? So do this. Get Electro there, and then we switch. You can see the little Electro paws around, and then we can get Hydro, right? And now we have Hydro going from... Right, we don't have any Electro from Eons on, but we're getting Electro charges triggered. Like, this aspect to Jahoda's kit, being able to apply 2 elements at the same time, is really fun. And if you have any ideas for whatever weird things to potentially mess around with Jahoda, please do let me know. But ultimately, you really just need to know that you have to have an element on the enemy for a few seconds, and then, you run the enemy for a little bit, and she starts, absorbing it, and then she can apply that element every 2 seconds. In AoE too, by the way. Obviously, you can see the little explosion. And, yep, that's application. That can trigger reactions. And does meaningful damage because a 230% scaling multiplier is high enough to see some pretty significant numbers from it. And because this is off-field damage, by the way, this means her best build for her personal damage is probably 4-piece Golden Troop. But keep in mind, you're also doing a double non-cry team, and, you might want energy on her. So you might want to just use Silicon Moon Serenade for team-wide EM buffing that will buff her own damage too. You can do 2-piece options, and then also she's an Animo unit, and so, you do swirls. So 4-piece VV will make a lot of sense sometimes too. So unfortunately, I do not have any strict recommendation for an artifact set. I think that's, again, one of the things you have to experiment with whatever team idea you have for using Jahoda in. And it's even hard to say what you should do for a goblet, because depending on the team you're playing her in, it might be harder or easier to consistently get specific elements for her converted damage. And it might be better just to do attack percent, because sometimes you might just get electro conversion, sometimes you might get hydro conversion, sometimes you might get pyro conversion in the same team. If that's the case, then you want to build her like Chaska, because you're not getting any consistent, specific element. So put her on attack percent build, not a specific element like a Pyro Goblet. But if you are specifically getting Pyro Absorption and playing her that way, then obviously you would want Pyro Goblet. And then her weapon choice, I'd say, comes down to, do you care about her burst to get her burst every rotation? If you don't, just use like a Skyward Harp crit weapon. Crit stat stick works fine. Stringless should be the most accessible 4-star weapon option. There is also an event bow that's releasing this patch that is not currently available, that gives energy recharge and a whole bunch of attack percent in its passive for Jahoda. That will be pretty good as well, right? So there's actually quite a bit of options to make Jahoda work, and it's just going to be depending on the team. So what I want to do here is this is, again, a team I don't think I recommend maybe without C6 Jahoda. Well, let's see. So we're going to absorb Pyro, right? And then let's do this. Okay, bam, bam, and again, burst. And what do we get? We get... So this is Hypercarry Jahoda with 4 stars only, doing 50k hits. And there's not really anything to do with her other than, you just move around to try to maintain better uptime on Eonson's buff. Now, that with, my Favonius build, to be clear, and an attack percent timepiece, that was not ideal. And she was doing 50k. Let's see if I can tweak her build around. Good Pyro Goblet, good Feather. Yeah, sure, let's stick with this. And 74, 212, this definitely will not burst every rotation, but that's fine. Alright, so we E, charge it up. Okay, and we do this, this. I didn't get the, no, crap, okay. Well. 58k, that's not that much more damage considering the 5-star weapon. Also, Bennett Butt ran out, okay. I don't know if this is the ideal way to play this team. I feel like... Wait, maybe you just do Golden Troop and you on-field... No, if you on-field Bennett, then you get Pyro Application. Wait, can you do a Hydro Infusion? See, now my brain's thinking. Maybe I just do Golden Troop, and then I do off-field here. So this is what's weird about Jahoda, right? This is what I'm talking about with the experimentation. Is you have an idea for the team, and you're like, that worked, but did it work well enough to actually be, real? This is a team I've specifically wanted to try from the idea of on-fielding her. So maybe the way I do this is I do this, right? Then do this, then do this, that, okay. Yeah, there we go, 65k. Okay, and I also, again, I let Eon's on buff fall off because I'm stupid. Alright. I think the lowest investment team that I could actually recommend, probably this team, and I'm relatively comfortable recommending this because a lot of people will have gotten Durin or will have gotten Jahoda in going for Durin. My Durin right now is C0 on 2-piece. He's on a triple attack percent build because I roll like that. And this is 100% of team context where you just do off-field DPS Jahoda, right? Well, you could leave her on-field, I guess, for the official Hexarai buff. So we start you. We'll start this. Okay, so we get Pyro going, do the Jahoda, and that. Alright, and why not? Wait, whatever, don't worry about it. And what are we getting for Jahoda's damage? Heck if I know. I think we're getting 13k reaction. But you can see, right, this is much more compelling. I should have been doing normal attacks to like trigger official C6 or whatever. And this, I think, is the kind of thing that Jahoda was designed for, to some extent, right? Is this weird mess of just have different beneficial reactions going on, and it's enjoyable. Now, this team does actually show, I think, an important thing to briefly discuss, which is, okay, let's charge this up. Okay. Which is how you set up things definitely matters. Okay, and so you can see, because we, start with a... Okay, it went invisible, so that's why that, got screwed up there. It's worth mentioning that mechanics like enemies going invisible, enemies moving around, cause more clunkiness. I want to emphasize. She's a clunky character, but it just means, you have to understand the context and the mechanics at play in order to use her properly. So, anyways, if you do setups, though, right, where... If instead of immediately going to Jahoda after doing Durin here, we set up our other characters, because there's benefit to doing this. In fact, I think it is usually DPS positive. And then we do Jahoda. You can see, usually what happens here is you live. But usually what happens here is you get a Hydro infusion. Try to do this again with more living this time. Okay. Alright. There we go. Okay. So we will probably get Hydro. Yep. So yeah, when I have Ino going in the setup here, usually this is what happens where we get Hydro instead of getting Pyro. Is that inherently a problem? Not necessarily, right? That might enable you to get more consistent vaporizes on Durin or whatever. And in general, I would say I haven't seen it make a massive difference, at least with the C0 Jahoda. But it does enough damage, and the fact that Jahoda can be a healer, I think for the typical player who particularly doesn't care that much about clearing endgame like with ease, this is a perfectly functional team by the vast majority of player standards, even with a C0 Jahoda, right? Oh yeah, you can end her skill early, by the way, if you don't care about the absorption. Get animal particles earlier, so you can use her as a more generic VD unit that way. But yeah, a lot of times though, the thing with, the Hydro infusion being pretty consistent to happen is because, the Hydro took over from the Pyro. There's no Pyro on the enemies for Jahoda to absorb. And with that, I actually want to mention, like, if you have the hypothetical future, Columbina is now announced, right? And she was announced as a Hydro character. And I think it's safe to assume that Columbina will probably have Hydro application as a 5-star that is better and like a more sustained Hydro application compared to Ino here, right? And would probably uplift the overall team DPS more than Ino. But if she has longer sustained Hydro application, that actually would make it really hard to do consistent Pyro damage from Jahoda, and you would almost always be doing Hydro, which again could be bad if your purpose is wanting to get bigger damage numbers from Jahoda herself. Ino has an actual advantage here in her lower uptime Hydra application, allows you to do setups where you do Durin first, have Pyro on the enemy, do Jahoda E, and then do Ino, right? If you have longer uptime Hydro, functionally what you have is the equivalent of what happened when I just used Ino early, but you can't control it, right? Ino lets you control it because of lower uptime. So anyways, I would be relatively comfortable taking this team to Abyss, but I want to demonstrate another Jahoda team, which I think is quite a bit more fun, I would say, and consistent overall. And this uses Mona's buffed kit. So let's do this. Actually, I should test here if I can get away with not... It would be ideal to be able to have, 1, 2, 2. Okay, what are we getting? 39k looks like. Oh, well, actually, I can't tell which damage is Jahoda and which damage is Durin. But you can see, very respectable damage, which, I mean, shouldn't be that surprising with, you know, combo of Durin and Nef's off-field damage, right? But, I don't know. I like how this team feels to play. And, yep. I think there's fun things to do with Mona's new kit and, like, DPSing Mona herself, but it'd probably be tricky to get actual, like, skilled reaction damage from her. I don't know. Anyways, let's, try the same thing, but this time we're gonna start a Nefa right away. And we're gonna see if we can still get Pyro from Jahoda. Because now we have, you know, damage happening. Alright, we got Electro, looks like. Interesting. Oh, we had... Oh, yeah, okay. You know what? That's a good showing of the issues that can happen. What happened there was when you have Electro going and you have Pyro going, you have the overload reaction, right? Both Nefa's skill from Brigitta and then Durin's off-field damage with his supportive mode, not his damage mode, hit at the same exact frequency. They hit every 2 seconds, and they each apply 1 unit of their element respectively. And the overload reaction consumes like an equivalent balance. Like if you have a vaporize reaction when you have Hydro on the enemy and then you apply Pyro to them, you actually only consume half of 1 unit of Hydro for each unit of Pyro applied for each vaporize. But with Overload, it's 1 to 1, right? You consume 1 Pyro for each 1 Electro, no matter what the order is. So that means with a equivalent rate of application happening between these units, you have the issue happening where every time a Nefa and Durin applied, they basically got rid of the element on the enemy, and that means the enemy had no element on for Jahoda to absorb in her jar. And it's a good thing that I got that on footage because I think it's a very good example of the clunkiness that can happen. You can solve that problem, by the way, by delaying the timing of when you cast certain abilities. Okay, I think I might have a way of timing this properly. So let's wait for burst. Okay, there we go. Do this. I'm going to cast burst and Durin first. Alright, wait for Electro. And then, bam. Okay, and then we have Pyro. Yeah, there we go. See, so all I did there basically was do a Nefa into Durin, burst first, wait for an application for like I had to wait like a second or less. I was going overly slow there to pay attention, but I had to wait a second or less, and then I was able to do Durin E because his EE applies Pyro, and like that gets rid of any Electro, and make sure I keep Pyro on an underlying aura for Jahoda to absorb instead of Electro. So that should work for a consistent setup. Alright, I think it will, at least. Do E, burst. Alright, burst. Alright, wait for that. Okay, and then we do that, and then we can do this. Perfect. And do this. Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, Jahoda's damage is definitely the 40 case, by the way. So, yeah. And this is the whole part of the... Oh, frick, it's raining here. It's going to screw everything up. This is the whole part of the like experimental process, right? That you kind of have to go through if you want to make Jahoda work. By the way, my recording is at 1 hour and 6 minutes, and I haven't even like started talking about Jahoda's constellations. Oh, no. Oh, dear. This character is... she's complicated, okay? I don't know. And I don't even think this video is going to properly do her justice. But, I don't know. This is a really fun kit. Even if Jahoda isn't insanely strong. This is why I'm weak to 4 stars. This is because they do creative ideas like this. And then I'm like, well, crap. I want to get the most out of Jahoda, so I go for C6 Jahoda. And I just like, hey, whatever. It'll get me Durin copies along the way. But I do want to demonstrate, stuff like her being a Hyper Bloom trigger kind of thing. Show the overall functioning of this team rather than whether or not it... what the optimum build is, whatever. Alright, so do this. Okay, and we do this. Do this. Do this. And, yep. It do be a bloom. It works pretty well. You know what, maybe it's kind of fun. But yeah, I don't know, on a baseline there, obviously, again, I have constellations, but the overall functioning of the team works really well, and you can get consistent bloom triggers, you get good Hydra application, you get your healing, but at a baseline I think it's just important to show that to understand the value of having her convert different elements. But as with every Nodcry unit, getting the full utility of their kit basically requires having other Nodcry units and ideally having, 5-star Nodcry units. Like Jahoda's flexibility and things you can have fun with her goes up significantly with the Nefa Lauma, right? You can do things with Ino, and presumably Columbina might be the same. I'm going to do an Abyss run at C0 with Jahoda and see how the teams feel to play, and I'll update you if I have any other meaningful thoughts. This definite awkwardness with new enemies spawning. Oh, I'm gonna get cryo, aren't I? Yep, I got cryo. A definite awkwardness with the shield on enemies. Oh boy, I mean cryo here is actually doing something at least. But it's just making me think attack percent goblet is probably the way to go most of the time. Oh boy, look how long it took us to get that charge up. I mean, we cleared it, but that's because I used a really good team in the first chamber. Okay. Damn. Please. I got Electro again. Oh my god. Okay. The problem is I didn't start with energy, so you know what I should be utilizing? I should utilize her burst more to get the right element going. I think maybe that's something that they intended on her that I'm not utilizing properly. Is if they intended Jahoda's burst to be what you use to, maybe they didn't intend it anything. Let's be real. Maybe they just intended her to feel like garbage. But maybe her burst application, right, applying pyro for example, would allow me to much more consistently get the pyro infusion when I want it, is my thinking. I think realistically, this is probably just a sign that DPS Jahoda is, for a lot of team context, is probably, I need energy, is probably more clunky than most players would consider worth playing. That was a terribly slow setup. Probably should just save the burst honestly for the next rotation. Right, but I don't know. I still think her kit is so fun and interesting to think about, right? Realistically, I think the Yai team will feel much better to play than this team. Because this team is really, really awkward on the... Oh my god, are you serious, Doran? No! I think this team is really awkward on the necessity of energy requirements and the desire to have particular elements on particular times, and like, yeah, you can see problems like this happen. Like, it took so long to get her thing up. It's so bad. It is bad enough that just the vast majority of players are not going to find this functional at all, right? But at the same time, she's still doing damage. So I think the lesson there is probably just embrace the jank mindset and just like put her on a full attack percent, do an attack percent goblet build or EM goblet rather than a specific element goblet, because even when you play her in a team where you want to get a particular element, things go awry. It's hard for me to evaluate this team properly because I really do feel like it feels more clunky than it should be right now because of the enemy mechanics in the first two chambers. I didn't hold E. Whoopsies. Whatever, it's fine. We'll get more Jahoda damage. Okay. And E again, I guess, in Yai. Refresh this. Did I get the conversion? I think I just eat it. Oh, god dang it. Alright. Alright, and that's already dead. We can do something like that. Alright, and charge this up. Am I charging it up? It's so hard to see it. I did charge it up. Okay, that took a long time, but the hydro kind of got in the way. But yeah, it's still clunky, as every single DPS Jahoda team seems to be. Alright, am I charging it up? I cannot tell. I think I failed to charge it up. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Well, the end result of that was, to be honest, less satisfying than I'd hoped. Jahoda is more clunky in practice than expected. I don't know what is going to end up in the actual video for the footage, but it is safe to say that in practice, relative to any mechanics with how timings of like different characters buffs applying and new enemies spawning and like trying to get particular elements on enemies to get absorption, different kind of team context. It's just really awkward. She's a really, really awkward character. Like, if I had to describe DPS Jahoda at C0 so far, it's like she's janky off-field Jaska in a bad way. Like we're bringing Jahoda along to the abyss, and she really does not want to be there. But let's get into her constellations. So we're not going to test every constellation. The only thing I do want to test quick is, so her C1 makes her meow balls, so her, you know, converted explosions. They have a chance to bounce. So bam. And then after that, we're going straight to C6. Then C6 is, of course, 5 crit rate and 40 crit damage for a moon sign character. And this is after filling up her jar, right? So if her jar isn't filled up, you don't get the crit. And of course, any moon sign is any non-cry character, so that applies to her and applies to any off-field character, which is cool. Do E, charge up. Okay. See if it works in single target. Nope. Nope, that's just one. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, I saw a secondary explosion at 3,600 there. Oh, no, it does work in single target. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So C1 is going to be a fairly significant damage upgrade in single target then. So if you really want to DPS Jahoda, I think C1 Jahoda might be worth going for. If you're hitting with 8 of her meow balls every rotation, you're going to get 4 of them that are going to do an extra instance of damage. So this is actually fairly significant, right? That can take her damage multiplier up towards more like what Yai's is in total. So, to be clear, she's so much more clunky of a character than Yai. But yeah, okay, so C1 is pretty good. And now we're just going to go straight all the way to C6. Alright. So her scaling goes to 272%, and then of course she has the free crit. Okay, so we do this. Charge up. Okay. Bap, bap, bap for this. Okay. And we bend it. Bam. And we run around. 80k. Oh, let's go. 88,000 and a miscrit. Dang it. Alright. Is this now at the point where I can clear Abyss with this? I'll go try. I'll try. We'll see what happens. If Hypercarry Jahoda with only 4-star teammates can clear Abyss, I'll be happy. Alright, Jahoda, come on. 2 minutes to do this. Okay. And... Oh, ow, ow, no, frick! That wasn't Jahoda's fault. Alright, bap. Okay, do this. Bam. Okay, real question is, do I bother bursting? I feel like bursting... Oh, 95k, let's go with the buff. not the blasting buff, that's just the crit card. Alright, look, one rotation we killed an enemy. What a world. A really slow setup. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Ignore the slow molasses setup. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the fact that the slow setup tanks our DPS functionally. Just focus on the number on the screen and the fact that she's not critting because I have terrible luck apparently. Alright. This is so stupid. No. Oh, it's not dead. Get pyro application going for shielding. Alright, look at the Jahoda damage though. Let's go. Alright, bam. Alright. Okay. Get infusion. Oh. You interrupted me out of my skill. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, the interruption out of her charge up state is so bad. Because, you know, that's all of our damage in this team. This is maybe the best worst team I have ever tried to make a video on. Something not that dumb enemy. Alright. Why do you have pyro on you? What the? Why? Why? Oh my god. Okay, well. The fact that it just took pyro aura in that rotation tells me that C2 I know is probably important for this team. And. It's fine. There's a solution. This is the solution. Bam. We get Hydro. I can do normal setup, but then after Ino burst, I do Jahoda burst. Oh, good lord. Oh, good lord. No, we still have pyro. No, we don't have pyro. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Okay. We're fine. We are fine. We're fine. Except that we don't have a burst this rotation. Ow, ow. Do a real rotation. No, don't die. Oh, no, no. Okay, I'm having a lot of fun, but I know for a fact most people would not enjoy playing this, okay? Oh, we got 100k, let's go! Oh no, we're not getting... Oh no, it has pyro on it. Oh, no. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, it has... Oh boy, Hypercarry Jahoda is going really well so far. Oh, I love it. It's so bad. Wait, I just realized the reason... Wait. I just realized the reason it's inconsistent now with her getting the vaporizes. It's because of her C1, isn't it? It's the Meow Balls applying extra pyro at certain times, overtaking the hydro. Like we need the C1 to trigger not at certain times. Otherwise we oh no. Oh god, it's so funny. Okay, if you want to play DPS Jahoda, just embrace the jank. If you want her to do anything consistent, it's just not gonna happen most of the time. It's the most fun I've had in a while with how bad a character can be, to be clear. What if we use this? And this. Okay. Why do you use... There we go. Okay. Oh, I still... Elegy build still get perfectly good damage. Let's go. Okay. Elegy, if you have it, is the way to go. Okay. This. Alright, you get Hydro. Alright, bam. Alright. And then we get annoyed that we still don't have enough Hydro. Oh, there we go. Now we're... Oh, good lord. Oh no. Oh, I don't have pyro on it. Oh no, I just wasted a skill. Oh, 15-second cooldown. Oh. Ooh, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Good setup. He whacked me the moment it was about to finish charging. Okay. Oh my god. Minus 10 seconds. Because of one spare Hydro application. Oh, it's so funny how like every layer of like things that you need to make it go well also can cause problems at the same time. No! Oh, that could have been it. No, I got interrupted. Oh, I might have to give up on this chamber. Like, I think it's doable, but my god. The amount of things that have to go well. It's just... Even when it's not clunky, it's still clunky. Oh boy. Alright, do that. Dodge. Ow. Okay, get some Hydro infusion. Okay, that. Alright, there we go. Time the E properly to not destroy everything in existence. Okay, perfect. Do this. Alright, bam, bam. Alright. What move you gonna do, sir? Oh, I don't have my burst up. No. Alright, you're gonna do spin to win? Alright, that's fine. I run away from you. I am getting mono pyro damage. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay. Okay, why? How do you have pyro on you permanently, bro? Like, this is insanity-inducing. I'm trying to get like a satisfying sequence in at least a couple rotations, but then like the dude's spin to win just F's things. It's like the thing that 100% kills Jahoda's kit is the ascendant gleam requirement. Like I know is not a bad character, but I know is a very bad character for having team options for Jahoda. She has range. That helps somewhat. Doesn't help with 5 years of stall. Stop. What the oh boy. Well, I think that's literally the best I'm gonna get. And you can ignore the clock. Ignore it. Do not look at it. It's fine. It's fine. Ignore it. Ignore it. I definitely didn't clear the first side in 24 seconds. Oh my god, I forgot how tanky this thing is. Holy. It's gonna take more than 2 rotations. Oh no. Oh no. At least I have figured out a consistent rotation, by the way. Anyways, it's Bennett E into Jahoda, charge up. Into Eonson, EQ, do not do the follow-up jump. And then you Ino, QE, and then you Jahoda Pyro Infusion, and then you can Bennett. And you should be able to Bennett and then switch to Jahoda, and you can see we got things sequenced perfectly well there, right? That should be the normal sequence. And you can do that pretty consistently, but minor issues happen all the time, like happened with the hamster, because the hamster moves a bunch. This enemy actually shouldn't be that big a deal. I should have charged this up beforehand. Oh, yep, definitely should charge that up beforehand. Oh, that's going to be an issue, because this dude likes to interrupt a lot. Oh, boy. Like, I really want to emphasize how this team actually feels, after figuring out how to get it to work more consistently, this team feels really enjoyable to play. In a silly, very unconventional way. Can you crit, please? And, like, unconventional, but really fun. It's just really unfortunate that the way the game's content is now balanced is such that, like, this is just not feasible, right? Like, I'm using a absurdly strong team on the first side, and I think I bungled that up a little bit. No, we're fine. Okay. And, like, it just makes things... I don't know, right? It's like the conjunction of the Ascendant Gleam requirement. That was bad, but whatever. It doesn't really matter because we're in the 2 HP left part. The conjunction of the Ascending Gleam requirement plus the way that they have been balancing content now in order to, you know, balance around the ridiculously powerful new characters is just like, well, this is the end result. Is that things really the moment before, sir? The end result is things that used to be really enjoyable in Genshin to do before, like this, just aren't enjoyable anymore. And like it sucks because like this is a problem that they created themselves, and the ways I used to be able to enjoy Genshin is not possible anymore. And I wouldn't have an issue with this, quite frankly. Like, I'd be fine with the HP inflation if there was other content in this game that wasn't just, oh, we gotta shill all the new characters, right? Like, I sincerely hope they take advantage of Millie Astra Wonderland being a custom content creation mode for the community, and I hope they add the ability for people to create custom combat content in that mode, because I would much rather just like go play a Millie Astra thing to show that DPS Jahoda can be fun, and in order to illustrate that like it's not really, even with her clunkiness, like the game's mechanics support her being playable, but the way they balance the actual combat content in the game means like honestly like I don't think you DPS Jahoda outside of Overworld. You know, put her with Durin and Nefa, it'll feel fine, right? That's why I started with that in the video. I knew that would feel fine, but it's just like Hypercarry Jahoda unironically should not feel as bad as it feels. It's just the way they're balancing content. DPS Jahoda compared to many other 4-stars in the game, it's such a weird situation, right? She has a really cool kit. Like, there's really interesting things to think about with this character's kit, but it just doesn't work in the current design of the content. Cannot, in good conscience, recommend anyone like play in the way I played her. But from like a generic comfort overworld standpoint of just a unit that can apply an element, and you know, you put her together with a bunch of other units that are applying elements, and you use her in overworld and don't care about trying to clear endgame, and you don't care about playing the best team possible, she's very completely functional, right? I don't want my struggles to use her the way that I tried to use her to stop you from playing her, but yeah, she's not a very good DPS. That's for dang sure. I think she's primarily intended to be an alternative for Nefer teams, for Flynn's teams as it currently stands, and that is fine, but it is a little disappointing to me. Oh well.